Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, we're going to be testing the GeForce RTX 3050 in Need for Speed Unbound. This one is the Gigabyte Eagle model of the card, 8GB of VRAM because it's a desktop version of the GPU, and we're running it with the latest Nvidia drivers as usual. I'm not overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power Up's GPU Z. Again, 8 gigs of GDDR6 is what we have here, and over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 7 5700G and 16GB of RAM, 3200MHz in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go over the settings first. I'm starting this at 1080p resolution, and we're also going to test this one at 1440p and 4K. 4K might be a little bit too much for this card, but we got DLSS support in this game, so I'm also going to try that out. For now, I'll leave that off, and we're using the Ultra settings preset, which basically maxes out everything aside from the depth of field right here, which is on high instead of Ultra. Let's go. Oh, this is rough. Okay, I wasn't expecting it to drop from 60 FPS at 1080p. All right. Good thing is, the game is quite soft. Well, that's a good and a bad thing at the same time. But yeah, the game is really soft at native resolution, so DLSS will actually make things sharper while giving us more FPS, of course. So that's a good thing, because it will perform better and look better at the same time in this game. At least that was the case with FSR2 and the GTX 1650 that I tried yesterday in the channel. So I'm not really sure where I'm going. 108 miles per hour. I still have to change that to kilometers per hour. When I change the settings, I will change that, if I remember to do so. Wait a second. Oh boy, oh look at all of those effects. Also, you know what, let's do it right now. There we go, metric system, great. Oh, I'm gonna lower the camera shake because I don't really like that too much. Also, a lot of you guys asked me if you could disable those effects that you get whenever you are like drifting around and stuff. Like, those are pretty weird. It's like red smoke and stuff like that. I'm not really finding it anywhere. But feel free to take a look at the settings right here. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. It's not in controls, probably. So I'm not really sure if you can actually disable it, unfortunately. I, myself, kind of like it a little bit. A lot of people don't like that, but I don't really mind it, honestly. Considering that this is not really going for realism, it's okay. If you look at the people, they look super weird, right? Look at that. So sorry, guys. So sorry to disturb your peace, but yeah, I just wanted to take a look at you. And my gal right there inside of the car. Yeah, pretty weird as well. Anyway, overall, the game doesn't look terrible, in my opinion. It could look a lot better. Like, Forza Horizon 5 looks way better than this, especially at native resolution when things are soft here. But, you know, this is what we get here. I bet the story is fun and everything because I've actually read some reviews already saying that it is. So it's alright. Let's see the FPS in these forest areas right here because that's super intensive. Jesus, okay. Alright. Yeah, dropping down into the 40s. That is insane. Oh my god. Wow, I wasn't expecting that, and I also didn't expect this to not be breakable. What the hell? Like, you can actually run through some of these huge trees like this one. No, this one, yeah, never mind. But you can do that in some trees. Getting 40s in this area. I think we will need to drop the settings, actually, even at 1080p. Again, I just wasn't really expecting it to drop from 60, let alone drop from 50 here. The good thing is, at least the game is quite playable even with these FPS, so if you want to max it out, you still can, absolutely fine. I really want to go to the big city now to take a look at the FPS there. Also, if you take a look at that frame time graph, it's absolutely smooth, which is awesome. Not many games these days release without stuttering issues in 2022, and it's amazing to see that the latest the Need for Speed, I almost said Call of Duty, what the hell, can run pretty well with no stuttering issues whatsoever. That's RAM or VRAM utilization is actually quite high at 7 gigabytes right now, so I'm curious to see how the usage will be at 1440p or even 4K. Can you play at 4K with like a 3070 or something with 8 gigabytes of RAM? I don't know. Maybe you're gonna be VRAM bound. We'll see with the 3060 Ti. Oh my gosh, that looked like a wall there. Oh, this game is weird sometimes. Anyway, pretty similar FPS here in the city. When it drops the most is in the forest areas, as we saw, dropping into the 40s. Not a big deal, but again, I wish we could have a little bit more FPS than these. And that's where DLSS comes in. Let's set it to quality, sharpening at 50%, which looked pretty good with FSR at least. And wow, okay. It does look sharper. We always get a little stutter when I apply settings, right after I apply settings. But that doesn't really hinder the performance anyways. But we didn't really gain a ton of FPS. Maybe like 10 frames per second or like 5 to 10 FPS. We're in a tunnel though, so things aren't really as intensive around here, of course. We gotta get out of here. How do I get out of the tunnel? Come on, game. Use the nitrous. Oh, there's an exit right there. Good stuff. 179 kilometers per hour. Ah, that's much better than miles per hour. It sounds even more impressive, you know. All right, 80 FPS around here. I didn't really see it reaching 80 previously. That was a little ramp right there. Actually, I'm gonna go and drive through the ramp there. I really want to jump over there. I'm starting to feel a little bit more stuttering though. I've seen a couple of frame time spikes already. Oh, that is probably because we're CPU bound now. Are you serious? Jesus! So Need for Speed Heat, the previous installation in the Need for Speed games, of course, that was super CPU intensive, and apparently this one is as well. People get out of the way, please. Oh, I'm gonna miss. Oh no, I did it. Okay, I thought I couldn't really destroy the billboard from that angle, but okay. All right, let's get out of the city. This becomes more GPU intensive right here. Yeah, I guess with like high settings, we will probably see a big CPU bottleneck. With a 5700G, you know, a lot of people will probably have lower end CPUs with the RTX 3050, like a Ryzen 5 3600 is a very popular one, i5 10400F. And those CPUs will bottleneck it even further. So if a 5700G is enough for 70 to 80 frames per second maximum, at least inside of the city, as we saw, I believe Ryzen 5 3600 should be able to get 60 most of the time, but maybe 60 to 65 or 60 to 70, something like that. And same goes for a 10th gen i5. Now let's go to a forest area with a ton of bushes now. Oh yes, so DLSS is helping it a lot right now. And honestly, I would enable it in this game. Again, it looks sharper if you enable it. And yeah, it gives you more FPS at the same time. But as you can see, it still drops into the 50s. Wow. So worst case scenario and GPU bound scenario, it drops. Even here, you don't need to be inside of bushes. Just driving around the countryside or these dirt roads and stuff. Yeah, it does drop from 60 FPS. Even with the DLSS. But it gets you 69 FPS average, so that's awesome. I'm gonna stop it there with 69 FPS average, because that's perfect, obviously. And we got 51% lows. I actually expected it to be better, guys. Again, not as well optimized as I thought it was, honestly. After seeing the 1650 getting like 60 on low with FSR, or 60 plus all of the time on low with FSR, I thought it was a good experience, especially because it looked better than native res. But well, at least ultra settings are super intensive. All right, let's try it at 1440p for a little bit and no DLSS and ultra settings. This is a terrible idea, dude. Jesus, look at that. It's getting 30. It will drop from 30. This is not really a 1440p gaming GPU. Damn, that is a big stutter. Oh, yeah, I just remembered that when you apply new resolutions or DLSS or FSR, you actually get a big stutter when you apply settings. That's not a big deal. It shouldn't really happen again. Yeah, it's rough. It drops from 30 FPS. Let's go to this dirt road right here. Yeah, not too bad though. It's handling it. It's getting 30 plus so far. What the hell? What is this? What is that? What? I'm confused. I'm confused. Why is that a little... What? Ooh, it's so ugly as well. Bear champ collected. Okay. So weird. I guess if you enable the DLSS at 1440p resolution, it should get you 30 plus all of the time, because it's not really fluctuating a lot, you know. So that's okay. It's not completely awful, at least. But I think if you're playing at 1440p, you should definitely use, like, high settings, not ultra. Look at this. It's gonna get rough sometimes. We still got DLSS, so I will actually use that right now. DLSS on quality now. That gives us, like, 5 more FPS or so. Of course, it's applying things, so it stuttered there a little bit. Okay, 40. That is a big diff. Again, god damn it, stop stuttering. Can you apply already? Everything is good now. As I was saying, at 40 FPS, that's not too bad. That's very impressive, actually. 30 to 40, getting 40 plus is pretty nice. And this is playable now. Okay, still drops into the 30s in worst case scenarios. But I mean, it could be worse, right? This is, again, not a 1440p gaming GPU, or not meant for 1440p gaming. And it can still handle it okay-ish. At 4K, it's just gonna die. Let's go jump this now. Oh boy, there we go. Beautiful stuff, 50 FPS right there. Now that we're out of the dirt roads with a lot of vegetation around us. Yeah, it's not bad. Getting up into the 50s as well. Jesus, okay. I like the effects. I don't really like the fact that the camera zooms in so much whenever you stop or whenever you crash against something. Look at this. See that? It just zooms in way too much. In my opinion, of course. I mean, some people might like it. It's just personal preference. All right, let's go to this city. I thought it was in this direction. No, it's in that direction. I don't know. I really don't. Oh my god. Okay, that was nice. 2 stars and $1,000. Beautiful stuff. Not gonna lie, guys, I am a bit lost. I don't know where the big city is. So I'm probably gonna need to go into the map. Yeah, okay. Oh, we're going there. All right. All right. You know what? Let's try out DLSS on balanced and 1440p resolution. I think that should still look really good. Yeah, it looks very similar to quality DLSS here at 1440p. And I'm using a 4K monitor, so yeah, I can tell a big difference. Yeah, balanced DLSS looks really similar to the quality DLSS setting here at 1440p. I'm using it on a 4K monitor, but it does look really good. Jesus, I wrecked my car. Yep. Okay, it's good now. It's good. Okay, all right, good stuff. Thank you. Okay, I think we are in the big city now. Tons of buildings around us. Getting around 60 FPS here with balanced DLSS. Not a problem. I think if you have a 1440p monitor with a 3050, you should probably use DLSS on balanced. If you want the ultra settings, of course. We'll still test it out on high. I'm not gonna test medium, guys, because, well, it just looks a bit too bad at that point. And with a card like this, I think ultra or high are probably the way to go, if you don't mind the drops below 60 FPS on ultra, that is. Now we still need to check it out in the vegetation areas, so let's try it right here. 40s and 50s with balanced DLSS. Not too bad. And some things just look breakable and they aren't. It annoys me a little bit. Yeah, lower 40s. Does it even drop? Jesus, alright. Yeah, that didn't really look breakable. I think we just lost our windows. Yeah, the back window is gone, dude. Whenever it drops from 40, it's very noticeable, actually. It starts being pretty choppy. But yeah, guys, that's it for 1440p. Let's quickly try it out at 4K. It's not a good idea, but I'm curious to see how it will do. So this is native 4K now. No DLSS in place. And it is beautiful, not gonna lie. At this resolution, the game actually looks pretty good, but it is so choppy. Look at this. I mean, what the hell? Oh my god. That's insane. Okay, so sorry, sir. It was in a highway, and I was just stupid there. But yeah, it doesn't really feel like it is at 16 FPS. It feels worse than that for some reason. It feels super choppy. That's probably why when you drop from 40 into the 30s, it starts feeling really stuttery or choppy as well. Let's use DLSS and see if that can actually fix the game for us. It's unbalanced. And nope, we're still getting 20s around this area, which is not an intensive area by any means. It's not... Yeah, okay. I think we are heavily VRAM bound at this point, because if you look at the power usage of the GPU, it's down there. It was like at 80 watts. So that means that the VRAM is being taxed the most here, and the game can't really fully utilize the graphics card properly. Now, at performance, DLSS, things are a bit better here at 4K, although it starts looking a bit softer. Still better than like 1440p though, with balanced DLSS or quality DLSS or even native. Yeah, I could comfortably play like this, but not with these FPS. It still drops from 30 quite often, as you can see right here. And we're not even in a very intensive road yet, so... yeah, there's just no point of doing this, right? I will set this to high settings, disable the upsampling, set it back to 1080p, restart the game, because I actually saw that you need to restart to apply a few of the settings. So yeah, let's do that. Here we go, 1920 by 1080, no upsamplers and high settings. Just to recap, let's do this. Also, if you're wondering, the races with other cars and stuff like that, it's not intensive. It's actually way more intensive getting into bushes and what we're doing here in this benchmark run. That's why I'm not going to races. Wow, this is... wow, 80s. That's a huge difference comparing ultra settings to high settings here. I did not expect that. Okay, that's good to see. That's very good to see. Let's continue. Okay, oof, this is probably not where I wanted to go. But yeah, guys, this is native 1080p now, and it's well above 60 FPS on high settings. So high is way less intensive than ultra in this game. And ultra is also CPU demanding, because we're now seeing like full GPU utilization, right? I didn't really notice it in the middle of the city though. Yeah, I'm seeing still like 95+% GPU usage. So some of the settings on Ultra were definitely really intensive, both on the GPU side of things and CPU side of things. So maybe with a slower CPU, you will still get a GPU bound here with the 3050 as long as you play on high instead of Ultra. That's really good to see, guys. Okay, I was starting to get scared, because usually when you get CPU bound in a game, lowering settings don't really help it that much. That's the case with Warzone 2, for example. If you have a CPU bottleneck, you will have the same FPS at like 1440p Ultra and 1080p low. It's how it works. I also can't really see a major difference in terms of visuals comparing high to Ultra, so... yeah, feel free to set it on high. I think that's more adequate here for the 3050 for sure. And if you prefer the native resolution, well, this is as good as it gets with decent graphics. It will still drop from 60, but not by too much. It's still a smooth experience overall. Let's try this out using DLSS now. I didn't think that was gonna be needed for 1080p resolution, but hey. If you want to stay above 60 all of the time, and if you want a bit better visuals, in my opinion, with the sharpening, this is it. Oh yes, this is definitely not dropping from 60 FPS ever. It only dropped slightly previously anyway, so... yep, even driving around bushes and trees and forests, basically, it's not really dropping. So this is the 60+ FPS experience all of the time with the best graphics possible. Reaching 100 FPS at times. Curious to see it in the city, to see like the CPU bottleneck. Will it reinstate itself at like 80 to 90 frames per second like previously, or 70 to 80, whatever it was. GPU usage is fluctuating a little bit more now. Yeah, 80s, 87, 83% GPU usage. So yeah, now we are CPU bound at 80 to 90 frames per second in the most intensive or most CPU intensive areas. Not bad. Perfectly playable, guys. All right, now 2560 by 1440. Let's disable the DLSS and high settings. All right, getting 50s, higher 50s here. Not terrible. Start counting the FPS as well. So inside of the city, of course, we are not CPU bound whatsoever anymore at 1440p. That's obvious. And it's very close to 60 FPS. I believe like an overclocked version of the 3050 should get you like 3 or 4 more FPS on average, and that should be enough for 60 average FPS in city areas at least. Of course, outside of city areas with a lot of bushes and stuff, things will drop inevitably. Getting 60s now. Great stuff. Drifting feels pretty nice, actually, in this game. Does this break? Nope. Come on, why doesn't it break? If I want to go there, how can I go there? Let me free. Let me go wherever I want to go, game, please. Oh, come on. I just forgot that those weren't breakable. If I am just playing the game and enjoying it and not caring about FPS whatsoever, like ignoring the FPS completely there, it feels alright, even with 40 FPS right now. It's okay, guys. You can still play like this at native 1440p resolution if you want to. Absolutely fine. And we're still not VRAM bound because that TDP is at 130 watts or close to it, as it should. So no problems in that regard either. It's not going to drop from 40 FPS now, even at native resolution, whereas on Ultra it dropped from 30. So major difference right there, and I really think that you should play this on high. Again, so quality DLSS, let's try that out. 60s now, not bad. It will stutter though, in just a little bit, because it's applying, I think. Or not. I don't know. I'm going to start counting the frames. I don't care. Let's go. What is that? Brain dead? Why is this here? That's weird. Let's try it. Yes, perfect. Didn't earn any money from that though. Okay, at least we earn a lot of money from like destroying things and doing jumps and stuff like that. I already have $3,250 there. I am rich. I can afford a 1490 now. Beautiful. Little stutter right there, by the way. Let's get out of the road. Get inside of the vegetation areas. Let's go, foresty area. Damn. Those used to be breakable, I think, in Need for Speed Heat, actually. Getting 60s even in the bushes, guys. That is good. At this point, this is a decent 1440p experience with the 3050. Check it out in the city. It shouldn't drop from 60 there. Yeah, over here, I doubt it will ever drop from 60 FPS, guys. Look at this. It's doing pretty good. Always above like 69. That is awesome. Okay, that's it for 1440p high settings with DLSS. No need to use balanced, but if you want a little bit smoother of an experience, maybe like 60 plus, balanced might actually do it, because our 1% lows are at 55 after all. It's really close to 60. And yeah, I'll leave it right there. Well, since we tested balanced on Ultra, I will also test balanced here at high. Let's go. Start counting the frames. Use the nitros. 1% lows are wrecked because of the little stutter. I was taking a look at the FPS, didn't notice the cars in front of me. That's what happens, but now we're touching 80s at 1440p. That's pretty damn good. Let's check it out around here, though. Yeah, 60 plus, look at that. It's pretty close to 60 FPS, but it is 60 plus. Doesn't really drop. If it does, it's gonna be in rare occasions or really intensive scenarios, and it's gonna drop once or twice. It's gonna be fine afterwards. Here we go, 3840 by 2160, no DLSS and high settings. Native 4K is just not gonna happen with this card, guys. It is really bad. It's cinematic at this point. It's right around 24 frames per second. Maybe DLSS will save it now that we are on high. Let's try it. DLSS, like performance. Because nothing else is actually playable with this card, I believe. And now we're getting 40s. Is it worth playing at 4K with performance DLSS? Well, probably not, because it starts looking pretty similar to 1440p, although it's a little bit better than 1440p, but it's definitely not native resolution. You can tell that it's not running at your native res right now. At least the UI and everything is still sharp and at 4K, although some of the UI is not sharp whatsoever for some reason. It's kind of fuzzy or blurry. Anyway, I could still play like this though. It's not bad. Look at that thumbnail. Pretty good stuff. 250 bucks. Nice. Look at our money going up there. I will not win a single race and have a ton of money because of these videos. It is playable like this, at least in the city. Now let's check it out in a forest area. 30s. 37. Oh boy. Oh, these trees, man. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, high 30s. Mid 30s at times. Low 30s maybe, like 34 at times. If all you want is a 30 FPS experience, performance DLSS at 4K will do it. So that's been it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next one very soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.